Speaking of focused and ready, our guy Ty Robb was locked in. I just saw this stat here from Kent Lee, who did some numbers
analysis,
research on the relative athletic score. And since 1987, in his position group, so that's almost 40 years, Ty Robinson, you want to guess where he ranks out of 1,812 defensive tackles that have tested at the Combine?
9th.
24th. All time.
I said that with conviction, didn't I?
And that you did.
I had no idea.
I think maybe you were just guessing the number.
Yeah.
Yeah. 24th out of over 1,800 defensive tackles since 1987.
You know the beautiful thing about it?
In the athletic score.
He picked the perfect year to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very underwhelming yesterday.
Yeah. And I think some people sort of liked some of the D-tackle class coming in, but they didn't test great.
I could see maybe from a good player depth standpoint.
Yeah, depth.
But you don't have
There's not
high-end guys.
No.
I mean, Graham's going to be a stud.
I like Graham a lot. It's hard not to.
Do you realize? I don't know. I'm not going to say it. Because maybe I wasn't that ahead of the curve.
On who?
Graham. I like Graham when he was a pup.
Mm-hmm.
And they were rotating 7 guys. And I was like, now this is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
But people didn't love his frame. And it's still not.
I could see that.
He was kind of frumpy.
He still kind of is, if we're being honest.
So it was the year they put it on Nebraska.
Yeah.
In Lincoln. So this was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And they were playing I'm telling you, they were playing like 26 D linemen. I'm like, watch those guys in their warm-ups. And he reminded me, and Foreman turned me on to this. And I think
if you say the same guy that I'm thinking, I'm going to lose it. Because mine's a deep cut.
Was he a Nebraska guy?
Yeah. Just body type. Not anything else. When you're talking about a defensive lineman that some people like that's a little too frumpy, this is the
I was gonna say Damian Daniels.
Oh, okay, good. My guy didn't ever really produce, I don't think.
So we were watching. Yeah. So Jay and I were watching Damian Daniels one day, and he's like, "Oh, you see blank, 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 and blank.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that if he stays dialed could do X, Y, and Z."
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of taught me to look at some things that aren't super obvious unless you are locked in on D-line. Because it's not just about get off. It's not just about hands. It's not just about bend. It's
especially on the interior. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
It's the ability to hand fight or to punch with power and super close proximity. Like, have you ever seen Kill Bill?
Mm-hmm.
When Pai Mei taught her to punch from 2 inches
close
away.
Distance, yeah.
So stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird? I don't know why.
I thought Bruce Lee, the 1-inch punch.
I don't know why. I just thought of Pai Mei. If I had said the old guy with the twisty gray beard, would you have known his name was Pai Mei?
No.
Yeah, his name was Pai Mei.
0%.
Anyway.
So the guy I thought
it's a good pull.
When you're just talking about like D tackles,
big Kill Bill guy.
D tackles, frumpy body type, but people still kind of liked him. The first guy I thought of was Jay Guy.
Oh, wow. That is a super deep cut. Jay Guy was like who was the little fast guy that everybody liked that was a quarterback? He had a little shorty while he was at school in Lincoln. Oh, Jamal Turner.
Oh.
Jay Guy was
had
some Jamal Turner to him where every year we kept waiting for him to kind of
like pop off.
Be the guy.
Yeah.
No, whatever.
Yeah, no pun. Yeah.
I remember that.
Jamal Turner was my dude, too.
Like, and Nebraska went through a stretch of recruiting D linemen like that.
Yeah, there was the squatty bodies. Yeah. Like, that's when that sort of term came into the Nebraska lexicon because they wanted these squatty bodies. That's why they didn't recruit Harrison Phillips as hard as they probably should have. That was the reason they gave, at least. It's like, I didn't really fit the body type what we were looking for.
Yeah. Even though he kind of did. I
was like, hey, maybe
and I remember these conversations with
that was the talking
Coach
point.
P was he just didn't think he was going to be he could two gap.
Yeah.
He's like the consummate two gapper now.
Yeah.
But he's a mammoth individual.
Yeah, he's huge. So I was at Lifetime a couple years ago, and it was like over Christmas or something, so he must have been home from I think it was right before he signed with Minnesota.
Yeah, because he was here for a little bit of time.
Yeah. And so
a little longer than normal, because I think that might have been he was either engaged or just had gotten married. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so I ran into him twice, like once at Lifetime and once at like a restaurant or somewhere.
Bougie Lifetime guy.
In about
I'd be more a Planet Fitness guy.
But so I'm like, hey, man, that guy's enormous. Like I see kind of like his frame from across the floor. I go, man, that guy's enormous. Mm-hmm. And I kind of I'm curious, right? Because, just like, so I kind of wander over to where he's at, and I'm like, oh, that's Harrison Phillips.
Yeah.
And I think he was wearing Bills gear at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely Harrison. Or no, he might have been wearing Stanford gear. I don't know. He was wearing some team identifier. That's like, oh, that's definitely him.
I saw one of his guys that won the Buckets.
But he's enormous, especially up close.
That was from Stanford that was singing Harrison's praises.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a good dude. But and I look at this D-line group, and
You're not enamored?
People are playing different now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see like two eyes, and not to get all techie, but like D-line play has changed tremendously from like days, not even that far long ago, like Vince Wilfork. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
If people 3 years ago were asking if Davis could be an every down D lineman from Georgia, like what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like sure he can.
Yeah.
But like it's just changed where you have to be able to get vertical and stop the run, right? It's almost like if you're a run stopper,
only a run stopper.
Yeah, it's like
you don't have a job.
Oh yeah, you're just a first down guy.
Come on, what are we doing?
So I'm just my point is that the evolution of the D line guys has changed. So I think when people were first tweeting when he measured in, because there were all these graphics yesterday morning. I follow all these nerds. I'm like, dang, he's down to 288.
That's what I thought.
It might have been you and I talking about it off air.
Maybe, because it was light.
And I was like,
because he played at like 310, didn't he?
He was. Yeah, I'm not gonna split. Do you want to split hairs?
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I want to be accurate. I'm just.
He was probably 304, 305.
Okay. But he was north of 300, so you're talking 17 pounds.
Yeah.
That's significant.
It is significant.
But I also forget how freaking tall he is. He's 6'6". Like that's a monster dude. I don't know what did he measure in at a full 6'6"?
Yeah.
Like that's a monster dude.
You saw him.
Yeah.
He sat. That poor chair didn't stand a chance because they were folding chairs.
Yeah, they were I felt a little like us. This might not be big enough for me.
My man was one cheeking a folding chair. And then I was like,
do we need to get you another one? Like I sat down on it. I was like, a little dicey. Big ass Ty Robinson sits next to me.
About his sport coat.
Yeah.
It'd have been a bathrobe on your boy.
Yeah, he goes, yeah, I had to go get this thing custom made. I was like, yeah, that checks out.
Had to be a 50.
Oh, more than that. Definitely more than. I'm full disclosure. Before I lost the 30 pounds, I was a 50. Yeah. I'm a 48 now. Still, he's probably in like the mid 50s.
Dude,
he's probably like 54, 56. Like that dude is wearing a circus tent as the sport coat.
He just so the 1710.
Yeah,
is
way more important than the 483.
Well, as a 218 pounder,
88. No, you.
Yeah,
okay.
As a 151.
Yeah.
Pre-testing fat DB, like as a redshirt freshman, kind of a sophomore, I remember I was like a 1.6.
Yeah.
And almost got laughed out of the running back room.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not that bad.
That's pretty good.
See how fast I was from 10 to the 40? That's a true story, by the way.
Do you remember your best 40 time?
Yeah.
What was it?
4.51.
Okay, that's good.
It was hard. So, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
How many, if at all,
how
many times do you think I saw LP go sub 4.50? Not 4.54, not 4.52, because back in those days, you had two great big digital displays that when you were done, and it was so crucial, there was no cheating the system. You had Brian Bailey on one side. You had Mike Arthur on the other. You had Boyd kind of overlooking it, doing the electronics. I mean, this thing was so dicey. It was almost impossible to be fast.
And they're doing digital, not handheld.
No, yeah.
Okay.
It was AccuTrack. It was like they were the
So
first
that must have been
laser.
early. I said that must have been early on the laser.
Listen, how many times do you think I saw that dude go sub 450?
0.
Twice in the same day in the same 2 times. Do you know when? He did it back-to-back times.
No, when?
Pro day. He went his whole career at Nebraska.
Never went a sub 4.5.
Never breaking 4.50, which was almost hard to. I can only think of a handful of guys that went sub 4.5. Jay Sims.
Oh, yeah.
Leslie Dennis.
Because Jay Sims was kind of freaky.
Ridiculously freaky.
Yeah.
Like
one of those guys that you
not overly coordinated.
Yeah.
You know, like to put it all together.
But like had the physical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
38.5.
Yeah.
You know, he'd 10.8 standing broad jump. Yeah, he'd go sub 4. And Leslie Dennis, Tyrone Williams.
Tyrone doesn't surprise me.
Well, he's like 4.47 was like blistering.
Yeah.
Like guys weren't going ridiculous. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
They weren't doing like what they do now.
4.32s.
And maybe Amon. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, he did go. Now, I did watch him in his pro day because he's like 2 guys before me.
Yeah.
When the whole auditorium just whistled.
I was like, what are you going his pro day?
Low 4.4s. I think 4.41.
Yeah.
4.42, which.
Pretty fast.
Laughable. The one thing I remember about that is it took him like 5 minutes to get in his start, and I was like, knock it off.
Really?
Get in your stance.
Just go.
Get in your stance.
Some of us are trying to run out
like
here.
Shake his back leg. And he'd like shake his thumbs. He'd like shake his hand. But he's a track guy.
Yeah.
So that stuff is.
I was gonna say, sounds like
it's critical.
Sounds like Usain Bolt.
And you could tell he had been. He was so mechanical and precise.
He'd been like coached to.
Oh yeah, it's just pretty. It was like. Cool. I mean, guys are running like 1.4.10s, and I think at that he had to be close. He was 2 teens.
I would say he had to be pretty.
He's big,
good size at that point
and
too.
So for guys like LP, it's just the short area burst. But his long speed was never
not crazy.
But he never got caught. There were even runs where you'd see AG get caught from behind. You never saw LP get.
So caught. You know what's funny is I think most people. I don't think they'd think he was faster than Amon. I think a lot of people would think he was faster than that, though.
Yeah.
Than a 4.49 or a 4.5 basically.
He ran. I think it was 4.48 and 4.47. And it's like, wow, this dude cracked. And this is after being 229 at the bowl game.
Yeah. Because what he normally play at 210?
He should have been about a 12er.
Okay.
10-12er.
Yeah. And I think people think he was bigger than that too.
Yeah.
It was the shoulder pads.
He had thin legs. He's another high cut guy, high booty.
He had those, but he wore those big shoulder pads. He looked huge.
Yeah. He had big cheeks too.
Yeah.
Little legs. But itty bitty waist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My man was like a 32-38.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
Long inseams.
Because what was he, 6'2"?
6'1"?
Yeah.
Hard to be fast. That 1.7 at 288
is crazy.
I don't know if you understand though.
I mean, I just know from like comparison, like with other guys.
That's a big, strong. And remember, we kind of questioned his like lateral quickness.
Yeah.
And he was more like a team drill guy.
Yeah. No.
He's like,
he tested pretty good.
See you on, what day?
Day
now?
2?
For sure.
Day 2 now?
For sure.
Which number did you like?
I liked it
the best from Ty Robinson yesterday. Like, which one would you most? Was it the 10?
I liked his D-line directional drill.
Okay.
And I liked him on the hoops.
Yeah.
That's a brutal drill. That's one of our conditioning stations.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of our guys don't get it unless they actually rush the passer. So our outsides will go, and that's usually my station. So I'll take D-line and the outside guys. And some guys, I got one guy, he's a Noonan. So it'd be Danny's nephew, David's son. And he's just a sophomore, and he's going to be
Pretty
fantastic, yeah. And I use him as a demo guy because he has really good get off. You can tell he's the son of a D lineman. He's explosive, but he was playing behind some good players. He's just a pup. But I watch him on the cones or on the hula hoops. Matter of fact, we just ordered bigger ones for this offseason. And when guys actually pit that drill to D-line or offensive linemen leaning on you or feeling for a double or turning the corner, and it gets real practical. Because I think sometimes when you watch that drill, figure out with the hoops, you think,
not really sure what.
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
But I always tell people, just try to run full speed, and I'll just bounce you a tennis ball. I'll be about 10 feet in front of you, run full speed at me. I'll lightly bounce a tennis ball off the ground, bend over at the same time, scoop it up full speed. Just do that. Not even worrying about ankle flexion or real bend going in a circle. And 98% of people can't do it.
Really?
Yeah. Basically a full speed crouch. That's what these guys are doing. And they're turning the corner. It's extremely difficult.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever done anything like that. That's sort of and I don't.
Because anytime something's on the ground and you're jogging, you immediately slow down.
You slow down or stop
to pick it up.
Yeah. The only thing I can sort of relate it to is, I've been taking like tennis lessons and stuff, right?
Yeah. So somebody hits a drop shot.
Yeah. So you're going full speed.
Full speed.
And then you have to bend down, get below the ball, and flick it back up. That's the only, and it's so freaking hard.
Yeah.
Like, it is so hard not to just like pop that thing up.
And it's just a lot of weight to be bent.
Especially when you're that size as a
it's a tough drill. It's one of my favorite drills to watch.
Yeah.
Because I thought the linebackers really struggled yesterday. I mean, and I get it. I'm not counting like Pierce or Shamar Stewart, who I think made a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how people kept throwing out the word freak. There were some freakish things.
Sure.
But I think freak is one of those things, and I get mad at baseball mostly because people will say, "Oh man, he's got electric stuff." And I'm like, "Is it? Is it?
Yeah,
it's good. It's really good."
Just because he throws hard doesn't mean it's electric stuff.
Freakish?
Yeah.
So there was like some freakish test results
because he came in lighter than
he was 261,
and if you look at pre-draft stuff, 285, 290 is where most people had him. So, like, listen, don't get me wrong. 4.59 is a really good number. But at 267, like, we've seen that before.
Yeah.
I mean, what was
I see, and I'm not poo-pooing it, right?
He made himself some money.
But I didn't think that was freaky.
Especially because
I do think his standing broad jump was pretty freaky.
Yes, but
he went 10, what did he go?
10-4.
See, that's me.
Yeah.
That's my exact broad jump.
It's also,
again, as a 219-pounder.
But it's also only 5 inches further than Ty Robinson at 21 pounds heavier. Like, if we're being on, like, if you want to talk about freaky, like, let's have that conversation, right? Like,
you know Bryson's dad, Jamel, right?
I think so.
So Jamel is probably 6'3" and some change. Maybe 6. Yeah, he's probably 6'3". Long.
I apologize. Shamar went 10-11.
Yeah.
Shamar went 10-11. I was looking at the D-tackles.
That's freaky.
Yes, it is.
That is.
10-11 is freaky at 267.
Jamel is 11 feet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Breaking 11 feet is wild.
He didn't break it.
No, but I mean, like, hitting 11 feet is wild.
Because that's like the 4-5 thing.
Yeah.
Amongst the running backs or DBs, because we were always together, and it was always about times when you say, "Oh, what'd you run?" You know, because you'd run it in waves. Like, not sometimes everybody would be in there at the same time.
Yeah.
Don't just say 4.5. No, 4.5 what?
Yeah. There's a 4.59, 4.51.
Yeah. You 4.58 guys, man. You're slow.
You 4.51 guys?
4.50 guys?
Okay.
Man, it's fast. Right.
Can I just give some context here? So, for Shamar Stewart, who has essentially no production.
Yeah, I mean, the tape will definitely lie.
Essentially no production.
Yeah.
He is at 267 pounds, which is a lot lighter, almost 20 pounds lighter than he played at or what we thought he was going to come in at, right? Just as a comparison, and I know this is like an all-time freaky combine guy, but just as a comparison, if we're going to throw the word freak out, I'm going to go to extremes. What do you think Vernon Davis weighed in at?
Now, arguably one of the nuttier combine participants.
Yes.
He was yoked. He was another one of those Adonis guys with the itty-bitty waist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess he probably wouldn't appreciate this because I'll say VD. I would guess VD weighed in at 45.
54.
Okay.
254. What do you think he ran in the 40?
He's a 4.4 guy.
4.4 flat.
Yeah.
Official 4.4 flat.
Yeah.
At only 13 pounds less, he ran almost 0.2 faster.
Yep.
So if we're going to throw out freaky.
That's freaky.
Yes, it is.
That's freaky.
And his broad jump, now, you're right, the broad jump is freaky because Vernon's was only 10.8. I said only. Only 10.8, right?
I'm telling you, that was incredible.
10.11 is bonkers.
It's incredible.
10.11 is nasty work. I will say, the 40-inch vertical, also crazy work.
What'd he jump?
40. Vernon did 42.
Again.
Freak.
You want a comparison?
Yeah.
35.5.
Yeah, which is a pretty good number.
Yeah.
That's a good number.
I didn't look at his vertical.
Yeah.
Once I kind of walked away. I chuckled.
So
it was the short That's what I did.
Yeah.
Almost when he jumped 10-11.
Yeah.
I was like, he's going to get into an offensive lineman in a hurry if he can use his hands. But then I'm getting into how much power do you have
in that short distance?
In those short distances.
How much pay weight you got?
You know, because every time
what?
My.
Oh, my bad.
When people always talk about when they watch line play, getting your arms extended.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be good when you're in here.
Yeah, so getting your arms extended is
it's ideal.
Yes, and you're not playing
best case scenario.
You're not playing ideals.
You're not going to always get that.
Not always. Most of the time you're not. Most of the time you're not playing in ideals.
I put our OLBs, I call it in phase, right? They're locked up in a bad position. That means either a number 2 receiver has them locked up, a tight end's into them, or a tackle's into them. So they're leaning at a 45, and their arms are in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, punch. So get vertical with your hands and disengage. They hate the drill, but I'm putting you in worst case.
Yeah. Everybody
wants to get here.
Everybody is strong here.
Sometimes you do get caught in here.
Everybody.
Especially if I'm on the edge and I'm like an apex. If I'm a defender and I'm in space, sometimes those number 2s, you don't always see them coming.
That's part of the reason I like wrestlers, because they can figure out.
It's one of the things that I go bonkers about with Ziola.
Yeah, they can figure out. That's why I like wrestlers as football players, right? Because they can figure out how to be strong in here.
Yeah. And I tell people, most people use what he does as an offensive move as kind of a feeling out phase because they aren't near as strong with levers that long.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that's really hard to appreciate what Cade does. But in football, and I watch those guys in those drills, I'm like, yeah, but can he play with what kind of snap or punch does he have without full extension?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of, you always want to be full extension.
Everybody is strong here.
But
everybody.
It's
it's
just not ideal. You seen those tackles and stuff in pass rush where the guys just get into them? Those are the guys I'm looking for.
Yeah. Those are, I mean, there's a reason why, when I used to power lift, you would do these lockout drills, right? For a bench press, and you start about halfway up. You know how much more I could do starting halfway up versus off my chest?
Yeah, I would imagine.
There's a huge difference there. And I'm not even talking about full extension. Going from here to here,
I just don't know if
it's easy.
If I'm just watching these guys outside of Graham, maybe a handful more. I like old boy from Ole Miss.
Nolan.
Yeah. But Ty he made quite a bit of money yesterday.
I think so.
A couple $100,000?
I think he got himself probably into the second round.
A couple $100,000?
Because he's productive. The tape is gonna
some of his tape will be amazing.
Will back up what you saw yesterday.
I just remember this guy against Oklahoma in Norman getting trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how? You're too good for this.
Yeah.
And then about 6 plays later, he'd have a tackle for a loss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, that's just youth.
I think you'll also
But his body type was way different.
Yeah. I think you'll also see, if you're watching from year to year to year, you'll see the improvement, which people will like, especially since he's older.
How about when Coach, did you hear McAfee?
Yeah.
When he was describing T-Rob? Did you thought it was over effusive in praise?
No.
It kind of seemed that way. And elite level athleticism.
Yeah.
Great athlete. I'm like, I wonder if they'll see that.
We did.
They saw it.
24 out of 1,800.
Because we didn't think that watching it.
No, we really, real time, I don't know that any of us thought as we watched Ty Robinson's career, oh, great athlete.
Yeah.
Like pretty good athlete, probably good football player. I don't know any of us thought great athlete.
I just go back to that conversation I watched him have sitting in front of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
When I mean, this was
early.
A month into his hire.
Yeah.
Imagine how important that conversation was.
Turned out to be pretty
Whatever
good.
It was.
Turned out to be pretty
good.
It was
a long one.